You're listening to The Real Short Box, a comic book podcast made for geeks by geeks.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the 24 time zones on planet Earth. Welcome to The Real Short Box audio podcast. And we have a special guest, besides, of course, the original Donald.
I'm here.
The 2020 North Hollywood's fourth best looking man. We also have the robust, the riveting Raphael, once again joining us for an audio podcast. How are you doing today, sir?
Howdy doody, bro.
Howdy doody.
Howdy doody. You know, I never really watched that back in the day. I know it's from like the 1950s.
I have a copy of Roy Rogers' Trigger in my hand right now.
Does he have Howdy Doody on him?
No, but that's just around the same time, I think.
Yeah, probably long before any of us were even thought of.
How's your woodpecker? Your Woody woodpecker. Oh my God. Scared the shit out of me.
You know what? I wouldn't mind having that guy around. He's crazy. I like Woody Woodpecker.
I like Daffy Duck.
No.
He's
the
crazy.
old school of Daffy Duck.
Yeah.
The psycho Daffy Duck.
Okay, so the new Scooby-Doo cartoon came out, and it's on HBO Max. And the intro to it, like right before where they do the WB symbol, it's Daffy Duck being crazy.
Psycho Daffy.
It's old school Psycho Daffy.
Oh, nice.
I was there for it. I lived it. I loved it.
Now,
it's great.
could he take on Psycho Donald Duck?
Yeah, well, just angry Donald. Donald was never really psycho. He was just angry. But yeah, I digress. I'm sorry. What are we discussing?
We are discussing some very fresh, and I mean fresh.
Could be fake news.
No.
I don't know about that.
No. It's not fake news. This is fresh off the press. The new heads of the new DC studios, James Gunn and Peter Safran. Basically, DC or Warner Brothers, they finally found their equivalent, or at least close enough equivalent to a Kevin Feige of Marvel.
I couldn't have predicted this better. Like, I knew.
We talked about this for years. We talked about this. Jared,
yeah.
You and myself, we talked about this for years.
I was like, he's going to be that. And you were like, yep. And then Jared was like, yep. And then
it happened.
Like, yep.
It
happened. Yeah. So, guys out there listening in podcast land, we make things happen. What we
say listen to us.
Happens. It becomes the truth. So, Ted Kord is going to be the biggest, best superhero you will ever see in the next 10 years in the DC universe. There you go. You've heard it now.
More so than Green Lantern, you don't say.
I don't even know who that is. That's how little that he's going to amount to.
Man, you're smoking some good stuff.
Yes, I am.
Will never happen, bro.
Psh, whatever.
Look, it's always good to dream. You know, it's always good to dream. Believe you me.
To dream the impossible dream.
Yes, to dream the impossible dream.
Yeah. You're like, I'm holding my ding dong in my hand. Look.
King Ding Dong. The hostess.
It's a hostess pop toy, King Ding Dong. It's literally named King Ding Dong. I can't believe that. Okay, that's great.
King Ding Dong has a better chance of being the next Blue Beetle.
Ding dong.
But this is really interesting and exciting news for those who are DC fans and looking to see better adaptations and more adaptations of characters that haven't been adapted yet for the TV screen or for the film silver screen. This is good stuff. I mean, there's a lot of characters, a lot of potential for DC. We talked about this, you, Jared, and myself, for years. For example, Deadman. You could do a Deadman TV show. It'd be really good. Obviously, a Justice League Dark movie could be in development. You never know. They could have that come down the line. And, of course, a better, improved, properly developed, properly scripted Green Lantern movie, I think, is very, very important. And interesting, before you came in the room, Donald, brother Raphael, and I talked about maybe using Jon Stewart or Kyle Rayner for a new Green Lantern movie instead.
Why can't we have Guy Gardner? Why can't we
have Guy Gardner? Or Guy Gardner.
What's wrong with the redheaded Irishman?
Or Guy Gardner. That works too.
To tell you the truth, what I think is what's really going to happen, right? You give the guys the rights to the ship, but can they go wherever they want? Can they do whatever they want? Are they going to be allowed?
That's the problem. Warner Brothers does too much oversight.
This time around might be different. David Zaslav.
I don't know. I think what happens in this case is that, how much leeway will they be given? And then also, what will they do? Will they really, take a time to decide on one character to develop? Let's pick one superhero. Let's stick with that one superhero.
Like Green Lantern.
Are we going to announce, like, Marvel a whole timeline of stuff coming up, or do you start with one and see how it works out and go from there?
I think the main problem is the fact that, again, DC's choosing a director that did well on a film for them and a series. So they're like, let's have him write this ship.
But it's not just him. You do have a producer in Peter Safran also. They both have...
I get that. I truly do. But I don't think it's going... Gunn is going to direct because that's what Gunn likes to do, and he's going to want to continue to do that. So that's going to leave a lot on the plate for Safran. So
we'll see.
I don't know if he's capable.
And then will Gunn be able to say he gets a call from other places that want him to direct movies that he may be interested in? Will he be able to just stick to doing that? Or, or at one point, will he be, I'm not able to kind of do what I want, so maybe I'm going to decide to just bow out and go back to doing what I'm doing.
Right.
It depends on the contract.
It's happened so many times.
Well, it depends on the contract. If they say, look, you got to give us at least 3 to 4 years of just being exclusive to, DC
that's
and Warner
nothing.
Brothers.
That's a drop in a bucket. Are you kidding me?
But still.
You could literally work on a project for 2 years, release a movie, and then work on a project for another year.
True.
And then you're out. Yeah.
True. However,
it'd have to be like at least 10 minimum.
Yeah. But I was talking to Kevin earlier, and I was like, well, Marvel at the point with Disney have done really well at the moment with Marvel movies, right? Not everything's worked out perfectly,
right,
but a lot of stuff has worked out well. So why don't you have a guy like Gunn who basically has connection with Marvel because he's done some of their stuff, right?
Talk to Feige, basically.
Talk to one and say, hey, look, I'm going to head this off, and I really want to start off with a bang. What do you believe is DC not doing that they could do to right the ship? Because I believe competition only makes things better.
Yep.
Being Marvel killing DC doesn't
make
help Marvel, doesn't hurt Marvel. But if you get DC making good movies and you're making movies, it becomes good competition.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if why can't he go to someone like and say, hey,
iron strengthens iron.
What can we do? What character do you think should we use, or how should we introduce them? What can we do to make this really work?
I want to bet you that Feige would say Green Lantern. He might say a character like Lobo. And, Donald and I and Jared were fans of Rebels. That'd be a cool thing, a Rebels TV show.
Yeah, but he's not going to say that. They didn't dip into that. Okay, so they did some unique things, sure. But, they started off with the big guns, right?
Of course. Well, the biggest guns they had available.
Right. Yeah, the biggest guns. You're right. Yeah, you're 100% right. So, but that creates a uniqueness in that. They had to work with what they had. Who would have ever thought that their biggest hit would be Iron Man, because they didn't have the rights to Spider-Man, they didn't have the rights to the Fantastic Four, Ghost Rider, all those characters.
X-Men, yep.
Yeah, X-Men. They had to make these things work.
Mm-hmm.
So you're dipping into a well again where DC
has everything.
In the executives know what works. Batman, Superman.
Okay, Wonder Woman a little bit, but Batman, Superman. Batman, Superman.
So are we just going to get more of that?
Oh, no, and Aquaman now. So, you want to get a little...
Here's my real question. The movies that have really worked out for them have been individual movies. Batman series, the Superman series.
Yeah.
The Justice League didn't work well, right?
Aquaman did, though.
Because the supporting cast wasn't so well. But let me ask you a question, okay? Besides the fact that you're a huge Blue Beetle fan, right? Because that's your guy.
Ted Kord, he's very specific.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Do you honestly believe that movie would go over well coming out of the gate without... if Ted Kord, as a Blue Beetle, appeared in another DC film, in the middle, as a helper, or in the end, a little snippet of it to lead into something to a bigger movie would work better than just, hey, here's the Blue Beetle. There's people like yourself that would know, that's great, I got to see it. And then the new people that are the new watchers of DC movies would be like, who the fuck is this?
Right. Well, I mean, that's exactly what we're seeing right now with Black Adam. The only big difference is the name behind it.
Exactly.
And that's why people are willing to take that ride with The Rock,
leap of faith,
with Dwayne Johnson. Yeah.
I literally had to walk into a room and hand my son Shazam comics when Shazam came out. Dad's like, this Shazam is, I had to show him, this is Shazam, right? Because technically, at one point, Shazam, Captain Marvel.
Right, he was called Captain Marvel. That was his
original name. Original name.
Yeah.
So, I think, do I want to see DC reboot Batman again? I mean, because you had, of course, back then, Jack Nicholson, and then you had Christian Bale, and now you have what's his name, the new
Robert Pattinson.
Pattinson. I'd like him to continue that series. That'd be great because I think they were doing.
They are.
Well,
yeah. Well, they're spinning off the Penguin HBO Max series, and now they've announced that there's going to be some more characters that they're going to spin off out of that universe. So that's happening. But I don't think that there's going to be. I don't foresee Pattinson's Batman coming over and meeting, like, for example, like a Cavill type Superman or something. I don't see that. I see them keeping these universes separate, which is probably smart for now. Right. Anyway.
If anything, there'll be another Batman. A Ben Affleck can come back or someone like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that worked out. Like I honestly don't think that worked out. I think Christian Bale kind of left something behind. I think I think the Bane character was a great character. I thought they did really well with Bane. I liked Talia al Ghul. I thought they could have really focused more on Talia. I liked him to introduce. Nightwing might be a good character to introduce, but he had to come in the form of being part of the Batman series at some point,
right?
To be introduced. I'd like them to expand on the Joker series. I'd like to see Evil win once. I'd like to see them do a DC dark, like a Black Label style movie, where it's a little more dark. Like Harley Quinn wasn't bad.
Joker I feel was pretty dark,
right?
And it did really well for him.
Mm-hmm. And you could do a spin-off of that, where you could do a Penguin in that state. Like when they did what was the Gotham, the TV show Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the first 3 or 4 episodes, and that they got something here. This is going to be good, and then it just kind of went off the rails for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it really went off the rails.
What about the Pennyworth? I haven't seen that, the Pennyworth show.
And I
haven't seen it either.
And I think we're all comic book fans. Some of us more DC than Marvel, versus vice versa. I'm a huge Batman fan. Right? That's like one of the books I read the most. But we're all waiting to see that book that just kills it, right? That just makes everything that much better. And Christian Bale's Batman was really good. I thought that was one that did it.
Even though he sounds like Clint Eastwood?
I just thought it was a well put together movie with some good characters and some good stars in terms of acting was concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Can James Gunn, like Suicide Squad, you loved it.
Yes.
The giant starfish.
Yes.
Starro the Conqueror.
Yes.
But for you, it's more nostalgic. What you read in the comic, they brought it to life. That's what you right.
Right.
My son was like, "What the fuck is this?" Right.
Yeah.
And then he went back and read something. And okay, now I get it.
Right.
And it was more of a comedy with the shark guy. It was cool.
Yeah, King Shark.
King Shark was comical.
King Shark is cool.
Right.
But it wasn't the dark Black Label DC that I'm still waiting to get shown.
I feel like we've seen enough of that dark DC. I'm here for that Shazam.
Peacemaker.
I'm here for the Peacemaker. I'm here for the
Which, by the way,
Squad.
Peacemaker is the best combination of dark and comedy.
Yeah,
it's basically a dark comedy.
I feel that's what you need. If you're going to go dark with DC, you need to have some humor to it.
Right.
You can't DC. The problem in the cinematic universe with DC is it's now seen as depressing. Like you go there,
especially those damn gray colors.
Right, you dress in your goth clothing, your favorite goth clothing from the '90s.
You're in a bad mood.
Yeah, and you just
dreary.
But I think you can have both.
You go in and sit down and cry.
You can do the Suicide Squad, the funny-go-lucky one, and then you can do like the Joker, right? So you can have both sides of it, right? I'm forgetting this. Jonah Hex was that that's an independent, or was that
That's DC? That's DC.
It's DC, but it was terrible.
It was a terrible movie.
Yeah.
It was. But what if they did a good one?
That'd be amazing.
Actually, a Jonah Hex TV show can work.
Yes,
if done properly.
It absolutely could. Yeah, I mean, if they can find a way to make Deadwood work, they can definitely find a way to make Jonah Hex work.
Well, that would be great. I mean, I'm trying to think of like
Justin Gray and Jimmy Palmiotti did the best run of Jonah Hex I've ever read. I thought it was phenomenal. Thought it was fantastic. And then they brought it into the New 52, which most New 52 stuff was but their run on Jonah Hex was pure fire. Like they took the ancestor of Arkham and brought him in as kind of the partner of Jonah Hex. So you had this brainy, kind of almost cowardly like character, and then you had this gutsy, not the brightest person in the world, Jonah Hex.
But they worked together.
Yeah.
Could you do a DC movie with the style of Sin City and make it really work? Pick a Batman or a Green Lantern
That style, man, I don't know. I don't know what would work. I would say if you're going to do that style, you need something that's really outside the box.
What about Phantom Stranger?
I mean, yeah, you could do Phantom Stranger. That would actually be really cool. I could see that. I could see that working. But you would need something like that. You know what I mean? Madame Xanadu or whatever her name is. That could be really cool. Those would be something. You'd have to go dark. In other words, you can do something light.
You know, it could be like a semi-dark or a dark film would be. It's like a Scarecrow movie.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I just want somebody to do the Scarecrow right. I want somebody to do him justice.
I know Cillian Murphy didn't do it for you.
No, not at all. I mean, in same with your Riddler. I always feel like every time they do him, they make him a joke.
Right.
They make Scarecrow a joke. They make the Riddler a joke.
Well, we were talking before you came. The Riddler was going somewhere until you actually see him with the mask off, and he's like a whiny
in the Robert Pattinson movie. He was great
up until
they found out who he was.
Yeah.
And he was a little girl.
Yeah,
but before that, you're like, this is pretty cool. If they just would have kept him a secret.
Yes, we talked about that.
You put him in jail. No one ever got to see who he was.
Right. You have no idea what he looks like. Remember I told you years ago, like my version of a movie like this, years ago when we talked about this, I would have called the movie World's Greatest Detective, and part of the mystery is figuring out who the Riddler is. It's just this dark mystery. You have no idea who this guy is.
We can do the Clue Master now.
Yeah, true. Good point.
They've yet to do a good Mr. Freeze.
I disagree. Batman Sub-Zero did the best Mr. Freeze story and did Mr. Freeze real justice.
About like on
live action. Live action. You're right. They have yet to do that, but I feel like at least we got to see an incarnation of Mr. Freeze that was awesome, and he was in his own film. He was the main villain, and it was fantastic. And we didn't get that. Kevin never got that with the Riddler. I never got that with the Scarecrow. But Mr. Freeze, we all got that. And that was great, because I love Mr. Freeze too. I think pound for pound, Batman has the best villains.
Rose Gallery. Bex Rose Gallery.
Yeah, Spider-Man probably be a close second.
Yes.
This is what I always tell people all the time. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I believe that Marvel makes the better movies, but DC makes a better read. And that's just the way I've seen it.
And animation.
At the moment. Well, yeah, animation. But I'm talking about when I read comic books, right now I'm reading the Batman, and then I'm reading Detective Comics, and written by Sardarsky. Good read, very good read. And I'm reading a couple other DC books, and they're just really good reads. Marvel-wise, I'm reading Daredevil.
And who's that written by?
Sardarsky.
Yeah, there's a common thread there.
Well, when Batman-wise, I was reading Tinian. Tinian was on Batman for a long time. And
he was.
It was fucking awesome. And then he left to do this whole digital content stuff.
Mm.
And then they had this other guy come in and fill in.
Well, then he started killing children, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tinian.
Something's killing the children.
But it wasn't him.
No,
okay.
Something's killing.
All right, just making sure. Okay.
But I mean, DC-wise, what is? I mean, we're talking about movies. We're talking about James Gunn, but we'll get to that part. What is a good read DC-wise for you?
I mean, past Kevin and I have talked to. We're blue in the face. It's
Resurrection Man is one of them.
Resurrection Man's one of them, but I think Legion, aka Rebels
is a great read.
Probably one of the best space.
Tony Bedard.
It's basically Firefly, but in the DC universe. It's like this band of misfits. It's
best
fantastic.
DC horror to read.
Swamp Thing? No, I think Resurrection Man was actually a horror series for a while. In a lot of ways, this guy that had to die and come back, and he had a new power each time. That was pretty dark.
That would make a good TV show.
Do you remember the original Swamp Thing movie? Do you remember the movie from back in the 80s?
Like
yeah,
40
Swamp
years
Thing's
ago?
great too. And I think pairing the Swamp Thing with Animal Man would be fantastic.
Oh my God! By the way, I'm glad you brought that up.
New 52.
One of the few good stuff for the New 52 was the Animal Man and Swamp Thing stories. And when the red and the green, oh man, that was
and then
awesome.
The Rot,
and the
Rot,
Rot,
Arcane come in and
that was
stuff.
awesome. That was awesome read, awesome read.
That would be something else.
We have a DC movie, it's not a DC movie out, right? What's his name is reprising the role. What's his name?
Which movie?
I just lost it, but that was in my mind. Who's the character for Swamp Thing? The original character.
Who played?
Who becomes Swamp Thing?
Oh, Jesus.
Alec Holland?
Thank you, Alec Holland, yeah.
Aren't they supposed to be doing some sort of a series with him?
I know that they did do an Alec Holland HBO. It was originally HBO Max. It was actually DC Universe, and that was their streaming network. and they had to cut it. I think it was supposed to be 13 episodes or something. They cut it to 9.
Oh, that sucks.
Because of budgetary issues. And then it got canceled.
You said it was good, too.
It was solid. It was spooky. It was great. It was really well done.
What are the biggest keys in Swamp Thing right now?
We were getting Blue Devil, guys, through that. We were getting Blue Devil.
Wow.
Yeah, but then what? Then what happens? The thing is,
They got canceled. We never got him. That's what we were going to get, though. He was there, and it just didn't happen.
But so Swamp Thing wise, what's the big keys in Swamp Thing?
Swamp Thing 1, because that's first Alec Holland.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? The first appearance of Swamp Thing is House of Secrets number 92. Yeah. So that's another big one.
John Constantine, right?
John Constantine would be one.
Well, John Constantine, he's getting a new movie too, right?
Yeah. Keanu Reeves is going to be here.
All right. And maybe the Swamp Thing appears in
possibly.
That.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
Well, Guillermo del Toro was originally going to do that.
Justice League Dark, that's right.
Yeah.
If he does that, and
get some Zatanna,
get some Dead Man.
Ooh.
Yep.
I'm in on that.
Would be great.
Yep. Oh, and you know who we already have now in the DCU?
Dr. Fate.
Dr. Fate, yes.
They can't see it. They can't see it.
I know, they can't see it.
In their hearts, they can see it.
I'm holding a Dr. Fate pop toy, and I'm super excited. He's going to be my new sponsor for the podcast, Dr. Fate. Speaking of sponsors, by the way, I just want to mention really quickly, Splattered Frog Brewing, great little microbrew company, Nano Brewery, actually, in Texas, based out of Texas. Look them up. Go to splatteredfrog.com. Type in the coupon code SHORTBOX. Save 20% off. They have pint-sized glasses, hats, shirts, koozies, all kinds of fun stuff. Excellent beer, by the way. We also have one more.
Right here.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Lovely.
Yeah, and then we have one more sponsor, which is one of Kevin's personal favorites, is Half's Hot Sauce. Go to halfshotsauce.com. Type in the coupon code Donald Hiccups. Get 10% off your order. They have some fantastic hot sauces. Painapple, which we just enjoyed earlier on some brats. That was fantastic. So highly recommend that. Trippy Pickle is also a great hot sauce. So check them out when you can. Definitely some great sponsors, some great dudes. That is Splattered Frog and Half's Hot Sauce.
And don't forget, you want to hear more of these podcasts, all you got to do is
go to YouTube.
Like and subscribe.
Go to Spotify. Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
We're everywhere.
We're on pretty much all platforms. In fact, when I was working up front, one of the people that came in, Tracy, we just posted a new pod and it popped up on her phone.
Nice.
And I was like, hey. And she's like, oh, speak of it. Now you see I subscribe. And I was like, oh, I knew.
The truth will be told.
This might be the first podcast we do where we actually dive into DC. I think we've always been...
Yeah, it's been a lot of Marvel, yeah. And I'm happy talking DC, to be honest.
I know you are.
I'd do that until I'm blue in the face.
Well, that's why every time I introduce you on the regular live stream, I always say he's DC Comics for life, and if you have a problem with it, he might just pop you in the mouth.
I mean, my boy was Superman growing up when I was younger.
Really?
And then I like Batman. Yeah, you know.
Was the Christopher Reeves Superman considered a DC? I know it's DC, but I mean back then, was it just a movie they made, or was it considered a DC project?
It was definitely considered a DC project because even some of the characters would come over. And to this day, I think it's Gary Frank, an artist that worked for DC for a long time. When he would draw Superman to look like Christopher Reeves. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was fantastic. Like, he looked like him. Gary Frank is a hell of an artist. I'll say that right now.
I was never a big fan of Superman, the comic book. Like, I never really read the comic books. I never really could take too much reading Superman, but in terms of movies, like one of my favorite. Like I watch them all the time.
The first two, especially the first two.
Oh, dude, Richard Pryor's was still one of my favorites. A big giant computer. I still loved it.
It's funny, and I think we talked about it on a previous show. That was supposed to be Brainiac. That was the original story for Superman 3. It was supposed to have Brainiac and Supergirl was supposed to be introduced.
Yeah, so
He did something.
Yeah, mm-hmm. so in terms of that, like for me, Batman, I've always even back in the old days with the original Batman.
Adam West,
yeah. And I remember running home to watch that when I was a kid. I've always been a Batman. As a matter of fact, I was at Spirit Halloween picking up my granddaughter's costume, and they had these old school original vinyl, not original, they're remakes of the original vinyl costumes. Remember when you got a mask with a string?
Mm-hmm.
You got this little vinyl cape you would just put on, and it was made for adults. And my wife's like, "You're going to buy that?" I'm like, "It's Batman." So I bought it, and my wife's like, "You're going to wear that out?" I go, "Yes, I am. It says here, for adults." They had a Superman and a Batman and a Wonder Woman, and they had a Frankenstein.
Oh, that Frankenstein would be cool too.
And it looks just like the originals. If you look them up, they're pretty much identical.
Oh yeah,
except for they're just.
I've seen some like horror shops and stuff that you can buy them at. They just got them up on the wall. They're like boxed, like the old school.
They
way.
have a Harley Quinn. I saw a Creature from the Black Lagoon. Which like a monster movie like that would be cool. I don't know if it's a DC product, but that would be great.
Yeah.
I don't know is a Creature from the Black Lagoon? That's an independent. Is that?
That's a Universal. Yeah,
Universal monster.
Mm-hmm. That's why when Guillermo del Toro did Lady in the Water, I think is what it was. That
horrible.
Was basically. I loved it.
No, that was Shyamalan.
No, it's not Lady in the Water. Then it's the other one. It's something. You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what
Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
That one okay, but Lady in the Water was horrible.
Yeah, that's Shyamalan.
Yeah, you're right. That was
Bryce Dallas Howard. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I can't remember what it was. What was it called?
Okay, give me a second. It was something in the water though.
Hey, can you tell our person in the back to check the stats for us?
Yes.
Person in the back, please.
Yes. Can we get our fact checker? Fact checker. There we go.
But so what do you think? Like, how long before you think Gunn and they make an impact? They've been announced to take over. How long do you think before they make an impact? Before they start and give us a roadmap of what they're going to do?
Gunn is making already a significant impact with Suicide Squad and with before, Peacemaker.
But now that they say,
well, I mean that's it's a little difficult to say because they've already started, so it's harder to compare with somebody that hasn't already started. That's just getting in place and stuff. But I feel like they've been putting pieces together for a while, so I think they're gonna come out a little faster than what we're used to. So I'd say in 3 years we'll start seeing some stuff. Like we'll start seeing more. We're definitely getting another season of Peacemaker. He's been working on a spin-off idea. They talked about Idris Elba's coming back as Bloodsport. So there's going to be something going on with him. We don't know if he's getting his own series or if he's got a movie coming out or what. But his character was really cool. A lot of people liked him.
Didn't he do that Tower movie? What was it?
The Stephen King.
Was it
Dark Tower.
Dark Tower. I thought that was pretty good.
You're one of very few.
But,
Not many people liked it.
I got it, but that's the problem with DC movies that everyone says, "Oh, it wasn't that great," but I don't think people really give it a chance because it's not a Marvel production or it's not a giant production. But I think if you like Shazam, a lot of people didn't like Shazam.
That was fun. Shazam was
I
fun.
enjoyed it.
It was fun.
I enjoyed it, but it wasn't that giant production everyone thought about. But I enjoyed it.
Aquaman.
Sequel looks great, by the way. Got a dragon in there and everything. It looks great. But again, it also looks like they're going heavy on the special effects, which in the first one kind of I thought weighed it down a little bit too much. Too many special effects. But
I always believe that I thought it would have been better had he just been Shazam, adding his brothers and sisters in it as becoming also part of his crew. A little much. That part I didn't really enjoy.
I thought it was unnecessary. Sure, we should get Captain Marvel Jr. and Mary Marvel eventually. Mm-hmm. Not in the first film.
No.
And I don't feel we needed all the rest of the Shazams.
I wanted to see him kind of because he just barely became Shazam. He just learned his stuff. He's still a kid. Show him for the whole movie, fighting the guy, and maybe not winning. Maybe the guy goes away for whatever reason. Or he fights him off enough to get him to go away for a time period, and then he kind of develops into what he's going to become. Where you're assuming at some point everyone's saying, "Well, Shazam's going to fight Black Adam."
Yeah, it's true. I mean, because that's his mortal enemy, basically.
Right, but you didn't do movie 3, Shazam, Black Adam. I mean, it doesn't work to me. That he hasn't developed enough to know how to use all his abilities to do what he's going to do. Right.
Well, maybe he will by the second one. We watch that one and we'll be like, okay, it looks like Shazam's ready. Now where's Black Adam's head? Mm-hmm. What's going on with him? I think honestly, though, they're probably going to go the route of Black Adam in the Suicide Squad. I think that we might see something like that because he was in the Suicide Squad for a while. And then when he left, I think they replaced him or they brought in General Zod for a little bit too, which I thought was great. So
another good character.
Yeah, getting some heavy hitters in there that don't mind killing.
So that's great. So Zod, can you imagine getting Sinestro on there too in the Suicide Squad? That'd be kind of interesting.
That would be, yeah. I mean, in other words, what we're saying, I think, is that the ideas are endless for this.
Do a better Sinestro, basically.
Well, I thought Tom Strong was a pretty great Sinestro.
Just a script.
Just the script kind of sucked. Yeah. It was pretty bad. But Tom Strong played a great Sinestro, I thought. And I wouldn't mind seeing him back.
Yeah, I don't
But if they want to replace him with somebody of some talent, I would be happy. I don't care if it's an unknown person. I just want to see somebody do a good job in a good film of Green Lantern.
Let's say they decided to do a Green Lantern and they're going to do Rainer, right? As Green Lantern. Who's your one or two pick as an actor?
That's Kyle Rayner.
Jeez. That's tough.
Gotta find a young up-and-comer who's
I'm putting
good.
you on the spot.
I would say that kid, see, I'm terrible with names. That's my problem. That kid that did Love and Monsters, and he was also in the Maze Runner series.
Oh, yeah. I don't know his name, but I know you're talking about.
I think he'd make a cool Kyle Reiner. Like, I could get behind that.
Now, since Guy Gardner you love so much, who would be a good Guy Gardner?
Oh, I think they already picked him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think the guy from American Horror Story?
Ooh, yeah, good pick.
Yeah, that guy. He was phenomenal.
Okay.
So, he's a phenomenal actor. So I was like, we're good.
What about the third Green Lantern?
Jon Stewart?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jon Stewart's kind of well, I mean, he's not tricky, but it's like somebody that he's got to be a little bit older and just very cold. And
would you do a movie with all the lanterns? Meaning, not talking about the three Green Lanterns, but the other, like the yellow lantern.
Well, you basically a Green Lantern Corps movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, all the spectrums. I think that's the problem. We don't need.
You have to work your way to it.
Right. We don't need to see all the spectrums right away.
You got to work your way.
Maybe we see the Star Sapphires, or we see the what's the other? The Dark Stars. You know.
What about the White Lanterns?
The Dark Stars.
It's about the Black Lanterns?
No, the Dark Stars. Mm-hmm. The Dark Stars were from the from like a.
Oh, it's about the Indigo Tribe?
No, is it the Indigo Tribe? I don't think so. I think there's another kind of a lantern type core.
What color?
Well, they're actually no, it's not. You're thinking differently. Okay. They're like relatives of the Guardians.
Oh, okay.
They're like the tall, gaunt people. Oh, and they created their own core.
Okay, gotcha.
And they're a harsher, darker version of the Lantern. So I feel like that would be a really cool story.
That could be a good story
to kind of start out with.
Do you want to stay with a comedic Green Lantern, or do you want to go with more serious?
You can have some comedy, but you got to be more serious. You got to have some comedy, but just be a little more serious.
I think that if you could get a tone just above Guardians of the Galaxy,
good balance.
Remember the new Star Trek?
Yeah,
the latest Star Trek with with the guy from
Chris Pine and them. Yeah,
if you did that tone of movie. But
the first one.
And you have like Simon Pegg, kind of Scotty character and stuff that has that quirky fun peppered in there perfectly.
In other words, let's say Kilowog. If he has, you could have him be a little more. Yeah,
you have
something like
that.
You have
comedy breaks.
Yeah. Chip or Bzzz, or any of those characters. Yeah. There's so much. Yeah, there's so much variety on these. Like, there's a crystal dude with one eye. There's another one that's just basically a giant face on
and of course, I love Mogo. I love the planet Mogo.
Mogo's great. I would love to see that.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah. And I think Mongol would be a great villain with War World. I think that would be a fantastic one. I think that would be a great story with Superman.
And then one of the sequels could be about the Sinestro Corps War.
Oh, yeah. I mean, eventually. We would get Necron, has come. Necron's coming for us all.
Would you be okay with, it's a 2-hour movie, and in the first hour is just how the Green Lantern gets his powers? Doesn't have anyone to fight yet. He's just getting his powers and becoming the Green Lantern, and then in the second hour is when he runs into Sinestro.
I don't know if we need. I guess it's long enough that we probably should have another origin, but I feel like we could do an origin in the first 10 minutes or something and just move on. You know what they did in the Incredible Hulk? Remember in the credits where they were showing him turning into the Hulk and him doing the scientific experiment and all that shit during the credits? I thought that was fantastic.
So you could do a certain sequences where, discovers the ring, you see the dead body of Abin Sur,
Right.
So what if they did like a quick 6-episode TV series on the Green Lantern to get to the Green Lantern, and then the movie was he's already the Green Lantern and now he's fighting Sinestro?
If they could do that, I think that'd be fantastic. If they could start world building with these characters and then put them into film, like start them out on HBO Max and then put them up on the screen after they're developed. I think that's a great idea.
Then you can drop you can do a series, and if it doesn't work out, you just drop and move on. If it works out, then it becomes a project you're going to put on the big film.
So in that
That's
case,
pretty
Doom
smart.
Patrol. You love Doom Patrol so much, maybe you can lead them to.
You can see them on the big screen.
Full feature.
That'd be
film.
fantastic. Yeah, that'd be so much fun. But
I'll call.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
See if they can, put that in there works for me.
By the way, that movie was The Shape of Water. You wanted to know.
Yeah, The Shape of Water. Thank you so much.
That was better.
Yeah.
That was better.
That was great. That was the Creature from the Black Lagoon film, basically, that Guillermo del Toro did.
But-
And then he did a werewolf one recently, too. Something Nightmare Alley, I think,
Yeah, Nightmare Alley, and now he has
which I haven't seen. I still got to see it.
and he's doing a Pinocchio movie
I can
next.
tell
That's
all
coming
I
out
can,
soon.
all I can
No
tell
shit.
Yep,
you.
Pinocchio.
Did not.
He did that?
No, he's going. Yeah, he's going to do
gonna
a
do
dark version.
Oh,
of Pinocchio.
okay. I was like, Tom Hanks was in that.
Did not
That's the wrong one.
disappoint.
Which one?
The
werewolf one?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, Nightmare Alley. Okay. Guys, real quick before we wrap this up, what's one thing that you want to see change in the DC universe, in the cinematic world? What do you want to see done in the universe of the DCU?
Well, something that the old crew of you, Jared, and I have talked about. We want to see new characters introduced and developed properly for, in this case, HBO Max, and of course, certainly for their respective individual movies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess I'm kind of, in a sense, biased. I like to see more Black Label. I like to see more Dark Knight. I'd like to see, Constantine become, more of a character, and then maybe Swamp Thing.
Mm-hmm.
You want to see the House of Mystery in live action?
Oh, that'd be
don't you?
really great.
That's it. House of
That's how
Mystery
you.
live action.
That's how you could introduce a lot of the
House of
DC
Mystery.
dark for
House
sure.
of Mystery.
live action.
House of Mystery would be a great ongoing TV series on
Yep.
HBO Max.
Oh yeah, the Spectre can make a little appearance too here and there.
Because you don't have to have big name actors. You could have up and coming people that are trying to get their feet wet in good roles, and then you can splash in a couple big characters in there.
And like I said, man, I talked about Phantom Stranger earlier. That could work, a black and white episode, and also introduce the Presence.
It'd also be great too, Kevin, for if they were to like do an episode where it leads to it almost you get a picture of a cover, not like a real picture, but like the character stands by a moon and it basically resembles a cover done by like a Neil Adams, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in the corner of that shot, as he's walking by, there's a little credit for like a Neil Adams style, like like one of his big covers,
Yeah,
that would be kind of awesome.
that'd be great.
The Brave and the Bold TV series.
Yeah, we could do that. There's just so much. There's so many ideas that we could have. We could go on with this forever. And in fact, I think at some point we need to revisit this and talk a little bit more with how it's progressing, but also with just DC in general and what we want to see on the printed page too. Because I feel like right now it's just too much Batman. I look in the bins, it's all Batman titles. Like, let's diversify.
Don't be a hater, okay?
Yeah. All right.
Batman is great.
All right. Well, with that, thank you for tuning in, everybody, and listening. You can find our podcast on all the podcast platforms out there: iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, you name it, we're on there. You can find our live shows on YouTube. We do those every Monday, almost every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. And thanks for listening. My name is Donald.
And my name is Kevin.
Raphael.
And if we don't see you out and about anytime soon, perhaps we'll see you
At the discerning, but always consuming, comic book shop.
This has been The Real Short Box. We'll see you at the comic shop. Thanks for listening.